Age 6, I convinced my schizophrenic father I could hear them too, just so he wouldn't feel so alone. Hey, imagine growing up thinking your dad just had some really mean imaginary friends. But what if those friends weren't imaginary at all? And what if they were telling him to hurt me? That's my story. From the time I was tiny, I just assumed every family dealt with these invisible bullies who made their dads cry and shout. I hated them. I remember one day, I was just 6 years old, and my dad, he threw a plate across the room. It shattered against the wall, echoing through our quiet house. "Josh, stop. Get out of my head," he screamed, his voice raw, before running upstairs. I just stood there, breaking down, tears streaming. I hated Josh, whoever he was. I followed him up, hoping I could catch him talking to these imaginary people, maybe yell at them to leave him alone. But what I saw instead, it actually made me happy at first. Another one of his imaginary friends had convinced him to take something, some kind of medicine. He passed out on his bed right after. I remember just feeling relieved that at least one of his friends was helping him, calming him down. That night, I made a decision. I was going to protect my dad. I had to scare those imaginary friends away. So every time he started arguing with them, I'd stand there, yelling into the empty corners of the room, telling those mean invisible people to just leave him alone. But the first time I tried it, Dad looked terrified. He grabbed me by the shoulders, his voice cracking, begging me, never talk to them again. I could tell I'd made things worse. After that, I felt completely helpless. Still, I wanted to help. I figured if Dad's imaginary friends were going to stick around, maybe they could at least be nice. So I came up with my own imaginary friends. Mine were funny, they were kind. I'd host these elaborate gatherings with empty chairs, laughing and giggling, making sure Dad saw how much fun I was having. I hoped it would teach him that pretend people didn't have to be mean. Maybe he could swap Josh and the others for some nicer friends. But that didn't help either. If anything, Dad got worse. Sometimes he'd just stare at me, that creepy, faraway look in his eyes. One day, during lunch, he leaned close, whispering, "You see them too?" His voice trembled, and I saw tears well up in his eyes. It completely freaked me out, but it broke my heart too. He looked so guilty, like he'd passed some horrible secret down to me. From then on, he'd whisper things to me sometimes. "I'm sorry, kid. At least now you understand." It made me feel weird, scared, confused, but also kind of special. Like we had this secret together. Then came the worst night. Dad had been yelling for hours, his voice desperate, so loud it echoed through our apartment. He screamed especially loud at Josh. When he finally crashed and went quiet, I snuck into his room, just wanting to make sure those friends hadn't actually hurt him. Thankfully, he was asleep, no injuries. But then I discovered something when. Full story video added in below.